Johannes Franciscus Jos Verstappen, is a Dutch racing driver. He is the most successful Dutch Formula One driver, and has won races in A1 Grand Prix and Le Mans Series LMP2 races. Prior to his F1 DAR copyright but in 1994, he was also the German Formula 3 champion and Masters of Formula 3 winner in 1993. Verstappen's son, Max, is also a racing driver who made his debut in Formula One in 2015 for the Toro Rosso team. Early career: Verstappen began karting at the age of 8, and was participating in national competitions not long after. In 1984 he became Dutch junior champion. He remained successful, and won 2 European titles. At the end of 1991 he made the transition to car racing. He drove in Formula Opel Lotus, a class in which identical cars compete against each other. He won the European Championship in his first year, and got an offer to drive in Formula 3 with Van Amersfoort Racing, who also developed other drivers such as Christijan Albers, Tom Coronel and Bas Lenders. During that European winter season, he raced in New Zealand Formula Atlantic. Subsequently, in German Formula 3, he won several international competitions, including the 1993 Marlboro Masters and the German Formula 3 Championship. Formula 1 = 1994, Benetton = Verstappen first drove a Formula 1 car when he tested for the Footwork Arrows team alongside Gildo Ferran and Christian Fittipaldi at the Estoril circuit in Portugal. The test took place on September 28, 1993, 2 days after the Portuguese Grand Prix was held at the same circuit. Despite the large increase in power, Verstappen set a time that would have qualified him in the preceding race on his 4th timed lap, and improved his time by more than a second after 65 laps. His best lap time of the day was 1:14.45, which was only 0.07 seconds slower than regular driver Derek Warwick had lapped during qualifying, and would have placed him 10th on the grid, a highly impressive performance for a first test. He tested again on September 30 and was lapping near his existing record after 5 laps, but then crashed the car, ending the test early. After the test, Verstappen was contacted by every Formula One team except Ferrari and Williams, and was eventually signed as the Benetton team's test driver for the 1994 season. After a crash in pre-season testing by regular driver J.J. Leto, Verstappen drove in the first 2 races of the season as a substitute, partnering Michael Schumacher, and made his Formula One debut at the 1994 Brazilian Grand Prix. During the race he collided with Eddie Irvine, which triggered a multiple accident also involving a pair of Rick Bernard and Martin Brundle. Verstappen's car somersaulted, but he emerged unharmed. At the Pacific Grand Prix Verstappen ran 6th but spun off on cold tyres immediately after a pit stop. Leto was fit for the next race at Imola, but his performances in subsequent races were disappointing and he was rested by Benetton following the Canadian Grand Prix, allowing Verstappen to return to the race heat. One of the most dramatic incidents affected Verstappen at the German Grand Prix. During his first scheduled pit stop during the race, fuel leaked onto the car after the fuel hose was disconnected. The car, with Verstappen in it, was engulfed in flames for several seconds. As was usual at the time, Verstappen had slightly opened the visor of his helmet for the pit stop, but apart from slight burns to his nose, he was uninjured. After this incident the fuel delivery hose was modified to incorporate a fail-safe cutout system. A high point in this season was Verstappen's 3rd place during the next Grand Prix in Hungary, Schumacher having allowed Verstappen to unlap himself on the final lap to pass Martin Brundle's stricken McLaren Peugeot. He took another 3rd place at the Belgian Grand Prix due to Schumacher's post-race disqualification from victory, and a 5th place at the Portuguese Grand Prix. A curiosity was his accident during a practice session for the French Grand Prix at Megny-Cauers, in which Verstappen rammed his car into the pit wall causing debris to fly up and destroy a TV installation. Due to this accident, this equipment is now protected from the racetrack by acrylic glass. For the last 2 races of the season, Verstappen was replaced by the more experienced Johnny Herbert in a bid to win the Constructors' Championship for Benetton. The team was unsuccessful in this aim and the prize went to the rival Williams team. 1995, Simtk equals, in 1995 he was loaned to Simtk by Benetton team principal Flavio Briatore. Despite some strong showings, Verstappen only finished once in the 5 races he drove for the team due to technical difficulties. The team had deep financial troubles and went bankrupt after the Monaco Grand Prix. Out of a race drive, Verstappen did some test driving with Benetton and Ligier. Briatore decided against taking up his option for Verstappen in 1996, signing Gene Ailsey and Gerhard Berger to drive instead. 1996, Footwork Arrows equals, in 1996 he drove for the Footwork team and impressed in the early rounds, running 5th in Interlagos and finishing 6th in Buenos Aires. Shortly after, the team was taken over by Walkinshaw's TWR organization. During the Belgian Grand Prix, a part of the suspension of Verstappen's car broke off, causing him to crash heavily. He ended up with a prolonged neck injury. Initially, Verstappen featured strongly in Walkinshaw's plans for 1997, but the surprise availability of Damon Hill saw him dropped instead. His form in the second half of the season dropped off as development on the 1996 car ground to a standstill, TWR Arrows focusing instead on 1997. 1997, Tyrrell equals, in 1997 he went to the Tyrrell team but did not score any points, though he briefly ran 5th in the Canadian Grand Prix. The team suffered from an underpowered Ford Cosworthy DV58 engine and a lack of funding, leaving Verstappen and teammate Mika Salo struggling towards the rear of the field. Verstappen's best result for the team was 8th at the wet Monaco Grand Prix. Before the 1998 season, Tyrrell was sold to British American Tobacco, who intended to rebrand the team as British American Racing in 1999 after one final season under the Tyrrell banner. Ken Tyrrell wanted to retain Verstappen alongside Toro Rosso Takagi, but BAT insisted on taking paid driver Ricardo Rosset alongside the young Japanese driver. Tyrrell himself left the team in disgust over the matter, leaving Dr. Harvey Postlethwaite to run the team. 1998, Stewart equals, out of a regular drive for 1998, Verstappen tested for Benetton once again early in the year, but the team would not hire him as a permanent test driver for lack of sponsors. As an experienced, fast free agent, Verstappen was a common name mentioned in pit lane gossip as a replacement for underperforming drivers. He would eventually return to the series at the French Grand Prix, replacing Jan Magnussen at Stewart. However, the car was uncompetitive, the team struggled to run 2 cars to the same level, and Verstappen did not perform significantly better than his predecessor. Johnny Herbert was signed to partner Rubens Barrichello for 1999 and Verstappen was left casting around for a drive again. 1999, Honda equals, however, for once it looked like things were going in the right direction for Verstappen. Near the end of 1998 he became the test driver for the Honda Formula One project. He teamed up with old Tyrrell friends Rupert Mannering and Harvey Postlethwaite, planning to test the new car in 1999 and join the series in 2000. All went well for the operation, with the testing hack showing well against upper midfield teams such as Benetton and Williams in various test sessions until Postlethwaite died of a heart attack. Not long after, Honda changed their plans from becoming a fully factory team to just an engine supplier, and Verstappen was again without a Formula One seat. He tested for the Jordan team in case Damon Hill decided to retire before the end of the season, but this came to nothing when Verstappen's testing performance was underwhelming and Hill resolved to see out the season. 2000 Euro 2001, back to Arrows equals. In 2000 he returned to Arrows, who had put together an impressive package including Supertc engines, a neat chassis with good straight-line speed and a bevy of sponsors. The car proved to be unreliable, but its speed allowed Verstappen and teammate Pedro de la Rosa to dice with the front runners at several circuits. In his second race back at Interlagos he ran 6th before spinning due to a sore neck brought on by his lack of recent seat time. In the wet-dry Canadian Grand Prix he drove superbly in the later stages to move into a strong 5th position and score his first points since 1996. After the first corner accidents in Austria, de la Rosa and Verstappen ran 4th and 5th, but mechanical problems sidelined them both. Verstappen would score only once again, a strong 4th place at Monza. For 2001 he was retained by Arrows. The Supertec engines were replaced by Isiatec units and De La Rosa was dropped on the eve of the season in favor of the Red Bull-backed Enrique Bernoldi. The package was more reliable but less competitive and Verstappen was hurt on occasion by indifferent qualifying form. Highlights of the season included running second at Sepang having started 18th, making a superb start and running well in changing conditions before dropping to 7th and later scoring the team's only point of the year for 6th at the A1 ring. Less impressive were his performances at Interlagos, where he ran into the back of leader Juan Pablo Montoya just after being lapped, in Montreal where he moved into the top 6 but asked too much of his brakes and crashed out on a day when points were possible. Nevertheless, he had re-signed to drive for Arrows in 2002 only to be dropped at the 11th hour in favor of Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Later that year he almost signed a test contract with Sauber but he turned out to be physically too large for the car, which was smaller than its predecessor. 2003, Minardi he returned to the cockpit in 2003 with Paul Stoddart's European Minardi team, considered the tail-enders of the grid. With limited funds and underpowered engines, it was a difficult season with little opportunity to shine. His best result was 9th at the Canadian Grand Prix, 1 place away from a point under the new scoring system. At the Brazilian Grand Prix he had been running ahead of eventual winner Giancarlo Fisichella on the same strategy only to spin off on standing water, but generally the year was one to forget a Euro, and many noted that Verstappen was largely outperformed by rookie teammate Justin Wilson. At the end of the year he left the Italian team because he did not feel like driving in the rear guard for another year. Out of a drive for 2004, Verstappen was considered as a replacement for Giorgio Pantano at Jordan partway through the season but was unable to fit in the car and began looking for drives outside Formula One for the following season. Verstappen participated in 107 Grands Prix. He achieved 2 podium places, and scored a total of 17 championship points, which makes him the best-performing Dutch race driver in Formula One to date. His highest qualifying position was 6th, at the 1994 Belgian Grand Prix. A1 Grand Prix. After 2 years of not participating in races, Verstappen was confirmed in July as driver of the A1 Team Netherlands managed by seatholder Jan Lammers racing for Holland, for the A1 Grand Prix Series. They won the feature race at Durban. On September 27, 2006, Verstappen split with A1 Team Netherlands after failing to secure payment guarantees. This resulted from Verstappen only being paid for the 2005 June season a few weeks before the next season started. He was replaced by Jeroen Bleekemolen for the first race of the 2006 July season at the team's home race at Zandvoort. Le Mans Series. In December 2007, Verstappen announced that he would take part in the 2008 24 Hours of Le Mans race, as well as enter the 1,000-kilometer races in the Le Mans Series. Driving a LMP2 class Porsche S Spider fielded by Van Merkstige Motorsport, Verstappen was partnered by team owner Peter Van Merkstige Sr. Jeroen Bleekemolen also joined the team for the 24 Hours of Le Mans race. After winning the 1,000 km Catalunya and 1,000 km Spa, and finishing second in the 1,000 km Monza, Jos Verstappen won the LMP2 class of the 2008 24 Hours of Le Mans. With his victory at the 1,000 km Nürburgring, Verstappen clinched the LMP2 driver's title and Van Merkstige Motorsport won the LMP2 manufacturer's title. Verstappen participated in the 2009 24 Hours of Le Mans in a Lola Aston Martin. Personal life: Verstappen was married to the Belgian ex-kart driver Sophie Kampen, with whom he has 2 children, Max and Victoria. In December 2008, with the couple effectively separated, it was reported that he has appeared in court in Tongeren, Belgium, charged with assaulting her. He was not found guilty of assault, but was found guilty of threatening her in text messages and violating a previous restraining order. He was fined and was sentenced to 3 months probational suspended jail time. The two have since been on good terms and remain friends. Verstappen had been previously convicted of assault in October 2000 over an incident at a karting track in 1998, in which a man suffered a fractured skull. He and his father were given 5-year suspended sentences after reaching an out-of-court settlement with the victim. On November 29, 2011, the media reported allegations that he assaulted his ex-girlfriend. Verstappen claimed to only have had a discussion with her. In January 2012, he was arrested on attempted murder charges following accusations that he drove a car into his ex-girlfriend in Roermond, but released 2 weeks later, after the charge was withdrawn. Verstappen and his ex-girlfriend got back together and they got married in 2014. The couple has one daughter, Blue Jay. During his professional career, Verstappen was nicknamed Jos the Boss as well as Jos Grindbak, the latter meaning Jos Gravelpit, and referring to the part of the track in which he occasionally ended up. Racing career Complete Formula 1 results Key Complete A1 Grand Prix results Races in bold indicate pole position 24 hours of Le Mans results References. External links: Verstappen family official site.